After the election, I promise to use this platform and every platform I have to keep focused on the future, on the solutions that will build a better economy for Americans. And as part of that, I kind of said I wasn't going to get mad at what Trump does. I'm not going to be part of the outrage and be distracted with my anger from what are the real solutions that Americans need. These past 2 weeks have certainly tested my resolve on the latter front because we have been drinking out of a fire hydrant of alarming and terrifying news, gross violations of our Constitution coming out of the executive branch with apparently no one to check them. So I see 2 points of light that have helped me through these past weeks, and I want to share them with you. First, let's talk about Elon Musk and what he's doing to the federal government. The most important thing to remember is that what he is doing is not constitutional. It is absolutely in violation of the Constitution. Article 1 is very clear that the power to tax, the power to spend, it all comes from Congress. And several pieces of legislation since then have protected the executive branch from doing anything like firing people in the federal civil service willy-nilly, making changes to federal agencies without bipartisan approval, taking the money that Congress has voted on to be spent and then not spending it. All of these are in violation of laws much younger than the Constitution itself. So on what level there's something really sad about this? What is allowing Elon Musk to do what he's doing to federal government? Essentially, that Congress has been telling him that he's allowed to do their job. I mean, Congress could stop everything that's happening in the executive branch within minutes, right? Elon Musk can be completely disempowered in under a minute if Congress took their power back from him. But instead, they're giving him the power that they were elected to do. They're giving it over to him with no oversight, with almost no checks or even any seeming problem with it. So that's sad on some level that's how our Congress has been performing and the level the bottoms that they've been brought to, but it's also the path forward. I mean, Musk is a cartoonish villain. He has no leverage that you could apply to him. He's the richest man in the world. He's anointed himself the CEO of America. Apparently, Congress has let him, and he bought a social media platform solely for the purpose of demonizing and antagonizing people who disagree with him. There's no leverage over him. But as we've learned in these past 2 weeks, apparently Congress folds like a cheap suit. And so there's leverage over them. They might be afraid of Musk. They might be afraid of Trump. They might be afraid of people who support them, but they have actual constituents to answer to, constituents who they are not serving. And they are supposed to be answering to a constitution that they are also not enforcing. They are failing in their job. I mean, in some level, Musk is doing what you would give an egomaniacal CEO, richest man in the world. If you gave him power over the world's largest economy and democracy, this is exactly what any of them would do with it. Congress is the one that is acting out of step with what they're supposed to be doing. Like, he's the cartoonish villain. This is what we expect. This is not what we expect from a Congress that is governed by our Constitution. That is the point of leverage. That is who can stop all of this. Now, lots of lawsuits are winding their way through the court system because of the number of laws that are being violated. But ultimately, this comes down to Congress not doing their own job, but giving their job to an unelected billionaire. Members of the House Oversight Committee and the Senate Oversight Committee could immediately put, basically an injunction on all of this. They're not. But they have a constituency to answer to, and so you need to remind them of that. You need to call your member of Congress and tell them that you are upset by what's happening. There are already news reports coming out that Senate phone lines have been so overwhelmed by constituents calling to complain that they're getting busy signals, that they're dropping the line. They're basically so flooded with phone calls they can't take them. Y'all keep calling. This is the point of leverage we have. You need to ask your member of Congress, I elected you to represent me. Why did you give your power over to someone I didn't vote for? I didn't vote for Elon Musk. Nobody did. I elected you to represent my economic security. And I find out that, as Wired is reporting, the kids who work for the Department of Government Efficiency are a bunch of kids that were interns at his private companies. Some 19-year-old worked for Starlink, and now he's rooting around in the treasury system that holds the deposits that are all of my income tax dollars. I didn't vote for that. Why is some kid having access to that? By the way, y'all, None of these people have been vetted. They haven't had background checks. They haven't had clearances. They haven't, I don't know if you've ever been or heard through the clearance process. You have to verify every place that you've lived for like 10 years. You have to have multiple character references. They have to check that you're the person you say they are. None of this has happened with any of the people who are rooting around in the Social Security system looking at where checks go. Call your member of Congress and ask them why some unvetted, unbackground checked, not clearance kid has your social security number, your address, and the exact amount of money you could get from any federal program ever, or your grandmother's, or your mother's for that matter. That's on you. That's the first point of light. We can break Congress. They clearly don't have a spine. Second point of light is, on some level, this is exactly what I predicted. Not that I'm like, aha, I told you so, but I said after the election, Trump got elected on the promise of making the economy better when he has no capability or ability to do so because he has no plan, right? They've shown their cards. Power grabbing comes first. Bluster and attention comes second. Your economic security, your economic needs, the Constitution, none of that's even a distant third. Right? He came to office on a mandate to improve the US economy, and he is using that mandate to amass power. They have put all their cards on the table. They don't care about you. We're going to fire federal employees. Is that supposed to make housing more affordable? Is your rent going to get cheaper because USAID is being disbanded in complete violation of the Constitution? No, it's not going to make any part of your economic security better. They are grabbing power. All their cards are on the table. All of them. I mean, even the retribution towards federal employees is itself an admission of what their biggest obstacle is, right? What's standing in the way of people like Musk and Trump are people who are loyal to the Constitution. Well, there happen to be 2.2 million people that swore an oath of loyalty to the Constitution over any political party or political person, and they are gunning after them with all of the might that they have. That is their first target, are the people who promise to uphold the Constitution. Right? Cards are on the table. They are not in this for you. They will do nothing to help you. This won't change over the next 4 years. Everything they do is about amassing power for themselves and destructing things for themselves. You don't matter. Your economic security, your economic troubles, your economic needs, they don't matter. You think Elon Musk is sitting you think Elon Musk has children going through the US Treasury accounts where corporate income tax dollars, where personal income tax dollars are deposited because he's dying to make childcare affordable? No. You think they're motivated by food prices needing to come down? Not in the slightest. On some level, they've just said out loud the part that their detractors have been saying the whole time. You don't care about the American people. They've made that perfectly clear over the past 2 weeks. I'm not saying that these aren't dark days, but you've got to see the paths of life forward. Those are the 2 points I see right now.